Hello, this is Jonathan from Censored Gaming. This is a sensitive topic to talk about for obvious reasons. The 9/11 attacks caused a great deal of change in the world, and all sorts of entertainment media was affected by this. Video games were no exception, with some games even being cancelled due to 9/11. Sometimes a game had bad timing, other times the developers may have been deeply affected by the event. With all that in mind, here are 5 games that were censored because of the 9/11 attacks. Our first game is Ace Combat 4. Ace Combat 4 released in Japan only 2 days after the 9/11 attacks, and then later released in the United States on November 1st. One scene originally showed a large tower building, surrounded by soldiers and smoke. This tower was then removed from all versions due to the resemblance to the recent attacks. Unfortunately, an image of how the scene was supposed to look has not currently been found. The commercial in Japan had to even be pulled too, as it featured jets flying and unleashing missiles before taking down another jet. Our next game is Spider-Man 2, Enter Electro. Given Spider-Man mainly has adventures in New York, this one isn't too surprising. The credit for finding these changes goes to the YouTube channel Nightsbreak235 for pointing out a lot of this stuff. For starters, the original version was pulled from stores and very rare to find. This new version though would contain a few things, such as changed mission titles to avoid any connection to 9/11, in which Wind Tunnel was originally Crash Flight, the Corkscrew was previously Downward Spiral, the Gauntlet was also called Aces High, Spider Ambush was plain Hijacking Goes Bad, and Thor Saves the City was Thor Saves Manhattan. This was done along with some edits to the newspapers after each mission or mission failure. These were done to avoid words such as hijacking and even Manhattan. There was also an airplane explosion at one point that got censored too, changing into a thug doing work around the plane. The plane was also meant to be part of the level, but was taken out and replaced with a fence. Other changes include the credits where Spider-Man is crawling up a wall and passes a man previously hanging outside of a window to a man hanging inside of his own apartment. At least that's what it looks like, as he doesn't seem to be in any danger now. Another change was a broken window, which added a shadow of a person instead, likely done to avoid implications of suicide of people jumping out of windows. The next change was a death sound effect when falling, where it would have Spider-Man scream in the original, but it was changed to Spider-Man sarcastically saying wonderful instead. Changes were also made to the game's climax. In the fight, Spider-Man and Electro fight on a rooftop, where Spider-Man must find a way to disable Electro's newfound power. Originally, this was supposed to take place on the Twin Towers. However, some dialogue was taken away, such as Spider-Man figuring out where Electro is based on the line, top of the world. The buildings were now joined together too, even adding windows and textures to help sell the idea that these weren't the Twin Towers. However, they did not take out the word Manhattan during the very final scene when Spider-Man is reading the paper. The third game is Grand Theft Auto 3. The 9/11 attacks affected a wide range of people, and this included the developers of GTA 3. For starters, the game would be delayed by a whole month, releasing in October 2001. This was done to make some changes to the game, as it was set within New York, the same location as the attacks. The edits include changing the police car colors from the NYPD blue and white design to the LAPD black and white design. Then there was the removal of a mission involving terrorists and a man named Darkle, along with altering flight paths of planes just so they didn't look like they were going to crash into buildings. Even the cover was changed, which would actually become the signature style for future Grand Theft Auto games. Rockstar has defended that all of this was just 1% of the game actually changed, and claimed everything else not stated here were just rumors. It becomes more understandable why these changes were made, however, when the studio for the developers was only just a few blocks away from the attack on the World Trade Center. Feeling uncomfortable with the design choices, they decided to strip some of these elements. Our fourth game is Command & Conquer Red Alert 2. There were changes made both in and out of this particular title. First, there was the game's front cover, in which Westwood pulled copies from stores and replaced the cover to remove the US flag, destroyed buildings, and anything that seemed like there was a city behind the character. Some of the old versions also featured this image, where New York is under attack, but this too was removed. Changes would also be made to the intro movie, where the original had the head of the Statue of Liberty blown up by a missile, but the censored version already shows a destroyed Statue of Liberty instead. Other landmarks such as the World Trade Center would later get renamed into generic areas, like Arch of Winning. There was also an expansion to the game, which due to the 9/11 attacks was pushed back to October 2001 in North America. There were a few changes made here too, such as with the cover. You can see that the Hollywood sign has been moved from the background along with any destroyed buildings. And our final game for this video is Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. This one will include spoilers regarding the ending of the game, so if you do not wish to be spoiled, you may wish to click off the video now. Metal Gear Solid 2 was initially released in November 2001, again, just a short time following 9/11. Alongside this, the game's creator, Hideo Kojima, felt that certain parts of the story resembled 9/11 closely. Not wanting to upset anybody, the team then made some last-minute alterations to certain parts of the game. When Arsenal Gear crashes into New York during the game's climax, the sequence was meant to include much more destruction. The Statue of Liberty was even going to get knocked down, and then later given a new home on Ellis Island. Additionally, after Raiden's duel with Solidus, Raiden would have cut the rope on the Federal Hall's flagpole, causing an American flag to fall over Solidus' body. However, it was decided that this and all other American flags should be removed from the game. Many of these details on the original version would be revealed in a bonus disc for the PS2 release, which helped serve as an interactive documentary for the game. Furthermore, there was another change made to Raiden's name. In katakana, one of the Japanese writing systems, Raiden is spelled similar to how Bin Laden is written, so they went from using katakana to using kanji for Raiden's name. And that's our list. Video games go through changes for many reasons, and we here at Censored Gaming will continue to report on all of these alterations. Thank you for watching, and may you have a good day.